What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Another episode. 2 guys, 1 mic. We're all here again.
Feels good.
Feels good. You know, which got me to thinking about something. I don't know if you watch the episodes when you're not here, but we had talked about how it just wasn't the same without Mike, and we let it slide. But we said if it happened again, we were going to have to apologize to the people.
Yeah.
And we were going to have to give the people what they wanted. So, with that being said, welcome back. The pillow for Mike. There we go. Got to give the people what they want. They want their pillow back.
Actually. Feels good.
Yeah.
Feels good.
Gives you a little comfort there.
Yeah, it's nice.
You need some comfort after this week.
I know.
It's always a surprise.
I know I do.
Yeah, it's good. It's you know what, still fits you well. But we got some things to talk about from last week. There were some interesting games, some good games, some not so good games, some really not so good games. But I mean, is there anywhere you guys want to start?
Why don't we go positive first? Let's go
Want
positive.
to start positive?
Let's
Okay,
go positive.
let's start with a positive. Then we'll bring this down to earth. The only 2 weeks that I really care about the Steelers winning are Ravens week. Now let me tell you what, they didn't disappoint me this week. They pull it off.
They swept them.
They so far they swept them.
That was a funny.
I do gotta say that you guys almost created a civil war in this household.
Really?
Yes.
I think
yes.
it was more Bowen than
Well, I mean, there was a little bit of egging on by both of you. Asking William, he wanted the Purple Birds to win. And I happened to read that out loud when he was next to me. And he got a big old grin on his face.
naturally.
And he's like, oh yeah, Purple Birds, here we go. So, luckily for him, the Ravens didn't win. So I didn't have to, kick him outside for a day.
You know, you're not there yet. But I actually have a son that's an Eagles fan. So it gets a little tense sometimes.
Yeah.
But you learn to kind of deal with it, I guess.
And your son knows his facts, too. So
Yeah.
it's kind of tough.
I know.
Yeah,
When
right.
these kids know, their facts behind stuff.
Yeah.
Because he tried to...
He'll pull some things out that I'm like, okay. He'll be like, oh, number 8, that's Kenny Pickett. And I'm like, it is. You're
How?
right. But
Yeah.
he's smart. He's like a sponge. But talking about this game, yet again, the offense did absolutely nothing. Nothing. Our special teams played great. Our defense played out of their minds. I still think that block punt was a touchdown. I think his elbows came down inbounds. But
It was a safety, though.
they called it a safety. Yep.
Right.
So the Steelers won 17-10 with a safety, 2 field goals, or maybe I don't think they didn't score an offensive touchdown.
They didn't?
I don't think they scored an offensive
That just
touchdown.
goes to show you how much.
Or they went. No, they did. They scored 1. Pickens had a touchdown.
They
They had 1 touch,
Yep.
which we'll get into that in a little bit.
That
But
just goes to show you how much worse the Ravens' offense was, though. that
yes, so the Ravens collapsed big time because they came out in the first half and they were dominating. It was tense moments. Probably shouldn't be around me too much. As I sat in my mother-in-law's living room with the whole family around watching the Ravens game. Their defense played great. Alex Highsmith had a huge game. Joey Porter Jr., I think, cemented himself as he should definitely be the number 1 corner for the Steelers.
Did you hear what he said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go home and be a family man.
To Odell.
Yeah.
That was
That's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah, that's great.
classic.
He is... The apple does not fall far from the tree with that one.
Oh, for sure.
That's great. Did you see the passing rating he's allowed?
No.
Isn't it 0?
0.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't been out there much, though. But
86 snaps. 86 snaps. That's not it's not...
No, but that's
great,
impressive.
but he's not... But when he's out there, he's doing some things. He's got a couple interceptions already. This game, Levi Wallace played like trash, and he replaced Levi Wallace. Previous games, Peterson
right.
Played like trash, and he's replaced them. I think he just needs to be our number one corner. It just stop fooling around. He needs to be our number one corner.
Yeah.
He's good. He's real good. And that was a steal for what they got for Claypool.
It was a Claypool for Joey.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah. They definitely need to play more.
They traded Chase Claypool and turned it into Joey Porter Jr.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. Now,
but that's what Steelers do, right? They're a good drafting team.
They usually are. They usually are.
They get steals.
Well, they got some busts. They got some busts. Let's not get too
and
far.
Najee Harris.
He's trending that way, which brings me to my next point. Warren balled out.
He's looking
Warren
good.
did so well.
He's
there.
quick.
Yeah, and
he's gonna be RB1 soon.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it.
That hurdle over that one player there.
And I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be mad either. I'd be a little disappointed because I was an Najee fan coming out of college.
But he hasn't produced, right? So he's not.
His rookie year, when they used him 90% of the game, he was great.
Yeah, there just seems to be a little bit more burst, obviously, when Warren comes in.
Yeah.
Compared to Najee.
Yeah, he's that change of pace back.
Yeah.
You know who?
But he's like a wrecking ball, dude. Like, if he gets enough momentum, it's hard to tackle him, too. I don't know, he's like this little compact wrecking ball.
You know who Najee reminds me kind of? Because he doesn't like to go north and south, right? He's not really big. He reminds me of kind of Brandon Jacobs when he, at that point when he was not, the biggest guy in the field and he didn't want to actually, hit a player. You want to just, try to juke somebody
get around him.
But, I don't know.
Well, do you remember what he said when he was drafted? What Najee said?
I don't. I do not.
The Steelers were getting everything they had in Bell, but better.
Oh, boy. That first year he did all right.
The first year, he backed it up.
Yeah, but
And
Bell
the last
was
2
one
years,
of the best.
Yeah, Bell's patience is ridiculous.
He was for a couple seasons stretch, he could have been one of the best ever in those seasons. He was incredible.
And then Broderick Jones played this game because Dan Moore's hurt, and he didn't allow a sack at all. He played really well. So we had some rookies step up and play well. And then just the excitement that came from Matt Cannon on that game-winning touchdown.
He looked real good.
He's my hero. He really is. I love Matt Canada.
So what's the hate on him? What's the hate on Matt? Why are we trying to fire him as a team?
Well, let's talk about that later. We'll talk about that. Let's move on to another game.
Okay.
Unless you guys got anything else you want to say. But actually, before we move on to the other game, Lamar kind of choked us away at the end.
He did.
With that interception.
He did, yeah.
He kind of choked that one away.
Yeah.
And then the running back that fumbled it, that was just like a backbreaker.
Oh, yeah.
Was it Hill or was it Hill, right? Was it Hill or Edwards? I don't remember which one it was. It was a great hustle play by the defense, but as a backbreaker for him, that was just the Ravens started to decline, and then they just dropped.
I have two things to say. One is that the Ravens, I feel like this is more alarming than the Steelers. I felt like this is way out of proportion for the Raiders, especially for the Ravens versus Steelers, right?
Yeah.
Their offense is way better than that. They haven't used Andrews as much as it's weird how little they've used him. But the other part is on the Steelers side, Watt's just a beast, man. He changed the fourth quarter at the end there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Porter got the interception, but Watt, man, I tell you, he's a monster. Yeah. He's one of those players, generational, amazing players out of Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Packers, but
they messed that one up.
Watt in that defense is definitely obviously going to win you some games, but they definitely got to fix that offense.
Yeah.
If they get to another level, even playoffs, maybe your defense even gets you to the playoffs. But when you're going up against the other top quarterbacks and offenses in the AFC, and if you can't do nothing on offense,
and that's what I said last week too. Was I can see them making the playoffs. I don't see them going over a Josh Allen, a Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
The way the rest of the North is playing right now, I think we have a good chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because they're just not playing well. But yet, I think this game, as much as I hype up the Steelers, and I like that the Steelers won, and I'm so excited the Steelers won, this game you could almost say the Ravens lost.
Yeah. Because
not only did they throw that interception, they had that fumble, but how many drop passes did they have?
Yeah.
They could not hold on to that ball. They could not catch the ball to save their lives, which I loved. It was awesome, but
it took everything out of the Steelers to feel like to win that game compared to where the Ravens almost seemed like they
the
did.
Ravens
it was a beautiful ball thrown by Pickett though on that.
It was.
And it was an audible called by Pickett.
So
he called a Randy audible.
Yep.
Named after Randy Moss.
This year has made some plays that you're like, okay, I could see him being our quarterback of the future. But then also, a lot of times your offense. But maybe that falls on Matt Canada. If you get someone else in there,
maybe
that offense takes it to another level.
We'll get into my thoughts on that later on in the show. I have a little segment I want to bring up on that one, but that was our good spot of the weekend. Pittsburgh taking it home. Then where do we want to go? Do you want to go to the?
Either way, both games were trash.
I don't really want to.
Here's the thing, though. Which one do you think was more of a disappointment?
Okay,
Cowboys.
Yeah, Cowboys. Okay,
sure.
We'll talk about Packers now.
I'm a Cowboys fan.
You think the Cowboys were more of a disappointment?
Yeah, because that game Sunday night, after everybody all year, even myself, I'm like, oh man, Cowboys are Super Bowl contenders.
Can I hit you?
And then they go into San Francisco with a chance to prove, even if they would have lost that game and it was a good close game and San Fran kicks a field goal at the end or something like that, I could still sit there and be like, okay, you know what? We're still right there. But after Sunday night, the way the Niners just dominated us,
I'm going to hit you.
I'm kind of nervous now.
I'm going to hit you with a not so fast, my friends, all right? I think the Packers were a bigger disappointment this weekend.
Okay, we can talk about that, but we're talking about the Cowboys
because the Packers lost to the Raiders.
Okay, I get
all right? The Cowboys lost to the Niners, who are a buzzsaw and have been killing everybody.
Okay, but they lost to the Cardinals, and we didn't go crazy on it, right?
We did, but...
We went crazy.
Okay, so we'll start with the Cowboys. Bringing in the Cowboys here, Sunday night, right? That's what it was, 42-10.
Yeah.
There was some shade thrown the Steelers' way after Week 1. Maybe not necessarily by this Cowboys fan, but by some Cowboys fans that I know. When the Niners won 30-7, and then the Cowboys get beat up 42-10.
Pretty bad.
Yeah. Cowboys. I seriously think the Cowboys and the Steelers are the same team. I'm going to say it. They're the same team.
What worried me more about Sunday night was, well, the offense again with Dak throwing 3 interceptions. I thought maybe this was a game that he could kind of turn the corner a little bit, but that defense, like, they couldn't stop nothing. Micah Parsons was getting shut down. He's supposed to obviously, he's still a top player. One of the best in the NFL, but I mean they just dominated from both sides of the ball. So I think the defensive side though makes me a little bit more nervous because that was the real story that we were talking about all year was how dominant the Dallas defense looked.
So let me tell you,
and
not to
the
be
Niners
nervous.
just ran up and down the field on them.
I'm gonna tell you why you're not gonna be nervous about that because the Niners shut down T.J. Watt, right? That's hard to do. Parsons, that is whatever. Whatever.
Okay,
T.J. Watt is really hard to shut down. They did, and he's balled out for us. The Niners are a disgusting team.
Yeah.
They are so good. I don't know there's a kink in the armor. I don't know where there's a weakness.
They don't look like they have any flaws at all.
They are, like I said, they're a buzzsaw. They run through people.
Yeah.
And like I said last week, talking about how I said the Cardinals and the Niners are going to play close game, and then all of a sudden the Niners are like, all right, we'll stop toying with them, and we'll start scoring. I literally feel like the Niners can score on anybody whenever they want.
Okay, so the bandwagon's hitting hard, and I feel it. I feel it hard. And let me tell you something right now. I was always there. I was always with my boys, the Niners. I was with them.
You were. You've been a ride or die for them.
I've been a ride or die. It's been a couple years, but their offense is, again, no kinks. They have 2 receivers that are incredible. If the receivers don't get it, then Kittle gets it. If obviously Kittle doesn't get it, we know McCaffrey's getting it, right?
Yeah.
What about their fullback? Juszczyk.
I know.
Juszczyk.
I tell you, he was almost an MVP with blocking Parsons. A lot of, double check, like.
Kyle Shanahan is one of the best play callers.
Their defense, Fred Warner.
Defense is
Fred
insane.
Warner and
Fred Warner.
Talalofa or whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
He is
Palomalu Jr.
Palomalu Jr. Yeah, man, he is just.
And it was just
They're good. They got was it Dre Greenlaw?
yeah.
Right?
Greenlaw?
Isn't he the other?
Yeah.
Isn't he the other backer?
Yep.
They got the
Nick
Bosa.
Yeah.
Like,
Nick Bosa's-
come on.
And like Brock Purdy, last pick of the draft.
And he's
I'm
throwing.
sitting there, like I said, watching Sunday night, and I'm like, how is this guy this good?
He's making
but he's
good
good.
throws, man.
I think he's underrated.
Great
know.
throws.
I think he's a little underrated. I
Yeah.
think this was probably one of the first games I watched him play. And man, he looked special.
I'd like to sit here and say, I want to see those guys again.
Nobody
Do
wants to
I?
see those guys
I don't
again.
know.
Nobody wants
I
to
don't
see those
know.
guys again. But I mean, you think about it. Ayuk could be a number one for anybody else too.
Yeah.
Just about anyone else. He might
good.
even be the Niners' number one
He's good.
over Samuel. Samuel and Ayuk are there, and then it just happens to be Dallas that it happened to. But George Kittle had one of his games.
I know.
He doesn't have a lot of them anymore. He has good games blocking,
Right.
and he makes big plays. But he went off against Dallas, and then he took his shirt off,
Yeah,
and he
we've
had a
seen that.
special
Yeah.
message for Dallas. What do you think on that one?
Well,
He didn't make friends with Micah Parsons.
no.
Micah, but come on, bud. You know,
I guess when you beat somebody 42-10, I guess you can talk anything you want to talk
Three
about.
touchdowns out of Kittle.
and then Debo said something back to him.
Debo said something. Kittle had the shirt, and then also Trent Williams, their lineman, after
Oh, you don't want to do that.
leading up to the game, he said this is going to be an ice bath type of game. And then after the game, the reporters are like, "You need that ice bath, sir?" He's like, "No, I'm good."
Dude, he's probably
He's
the best left tackle in the game too.
He probably might be one of the best ever.
Yeah.
Like he's
So-
a monster.
Dude, he's huge.
From top to bottom, Niners they look like the best team, not just in NFC.
No, yeah,
Whole NFL.
they are definitely pushing favorites for the
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
I don't even think there's a question after this week, especially against a Dallas defense, which is good. I think they're going to bounce back.
Now,
I think
will
your
they play the
offense-
Eagles? They
Yeah,
play
they
the
did
Eagles,
play
right?
the Eagles this year. Yeah.
So that'll be a good game.
Yeah.
Eagles obviously are 5-0, but
I don't think
they
they're
look
as-
like they've had some flaws.
I don't think they're as good as the
Niners
record
don't
is.
seem like they've looked like they've had anything wrong
Well,
so far.
if one person's not doing it, somebody else is gonna.
Yeah.
So
And and like we were saying, Brock Purdy. You say we weren't sure if he was as good as he is. I'm still not sure. Is he as good as he is, or is he just in the absolute perfect position?
Well,
I mean,
think, yeah, I
he's
think it's a little bit of
good.
both,
He's
I
good
think.
because he's not making turnovers. He takes care of the ball.
Yep.
But like you said, okay, take away Christian McCaffrey. I got Deebo Samuel. Oh no, you're gonna take him away? Okay, Brandon Ayuk. Ayuk's gone. Okay, Kittle. Hey, guess what? I got the best left tackle blocking my guard side or blind side for me.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you stop our drive, good luck scoring on our defense.
yeah. Well, look at Tua, right? Tua's the same way, where he was one of those players that you're like, you take away Hill, Waddle, all these explosive players, are they going to be good? I think they're more game managers, but honestly, I mean, like his balls.
He was throwing some good ones.
Pretty.
Well, just ask LaShawn McCoy. He said if you put Purdy on the Cowboys, Super Bowl right now.
Yeah, he's
Let's
that
see,
high
yeah.
on Purdy.
Yeah.
Who said that?
LaShawn McCoy.
Oh gosh.
I don't like that guy. Hey, bud, how you doing?
Yeah, but he's he's
How you doing?
He's not gonna watch.
an eagle.
I know he's an eagle, but I guess you got to go with the good and ride with the bad too. But it's the Cowboys are a little bit more scrutinized when they lose a game like this. Other teams can lose games like this, and it's kind of
It's the truth, though. It's
but-
the truth for
yeah.
sure.
So I heard a sports talk radio on the way to work the other day because every once in a while I'll turn on the radio, the talk radio, and they were talking about when the Cowboys do bad and when the Patriots do bad right now. And their question was, what do you think America enjoys more? When the Cowboys get whooped up on or the Patriots?
I think the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Well, their argument was that the Patriots, because now the Patriots have become this hated franchise from Tom Brady and everything, that it's just expected the Cowboys are going to get whooped up on, so they don't really care. They're expecting a big hype, little performance, and then they get so excited when the Patriots get whooped up on.
No,
It's
like-
interesting.
Yeah.
Personally, I like it when the Patriots get destroyed.
Yeah.
The Cowboys, I'm like, oh,
well, your wife's a Cowboy
Yeah.
fan, so you got to kind of root for them a
there's
little
some
bit.
Cowboys.
But the thing I hate the most about that is like, okay, people like Miami, they're Super Bowl, they're good, they're 4-1, right? They haven't played nobody either. The one team that their toughest
They
test,
played the Giants.
their toughest test, they lost by 28 points to the Bills.
Right.
But everybody's still on their.
Yeah, but do you want
their
to?
team,
Would you
no.
want to face them right now? If you face them, do you feel like you would win?
But the Cowboys lose a game like that, and Dak sucks. they're all this hype and nothing to show. But
Dak's not playing well.
he he was sort of.
He didn't throw an interception, right? Until
He threw one. This
one.
year.
Okay. So
Am I rushing into things, or should we try Cooper again?
How about Trey Lance?
Or Trey Lance?
In
Could have been a revenge game.
In Dak's defense, though, 2 of those 3 picks came in garbage time, just trying to make something happen, whatever. But we'll see him again.
I feel for you.
God, you better hope you don't see him again. We're still seeing him in our nightmares when we close our eyes. Which brings us to the third and final game, which I actually, now recalling last week, I think this is a good game to stay to the end with, because we questioned pretty hard
Mike's decision.
Mike's thinking
Yeah.
of taking the
upset
Raiders. We couldn't figure out what made you pick the Raiders over the Packers. I thought maybe you think the Raiders play well in primetime game, which they have. Then I did think about it afterwards. He was a big revenge game guy, Devontae Adams revenge game type of thing.
But he didn't have it.
Didn't have it.
But
So
that was kind of my thinking.
Was it the revenge
Adams
game?
only? Really?
No,
Who likes
just
the revenge game stuff?
Adams and I mean, what makes the Packers so much more better than the Raiders?
I mean, they were. I feel
So
like
far.
going out of favorites or going out of like the odds. I felt like in Lambeau. No, it was
Vegas.
in
It was in
Vegas.
Vegas.
It was in Vegas.
But still, the Raiders aren't. They're
No,
not
they
good.
were 1-3 coming into
Hey.
it, which I respect it. 2-2. This game was tough. It was a tough one, and I feel
Well, they
like
can't go from 1-3 to 2-2, but
no, Packers were 2-2.
oh, okay.
Yeah, Packers were 2-2. So I feel like the tough part
He's
was
from Unadilla.
stop Unadilla Valley. Thank you very much. Different. It doesn't make sense. I get it. Okay, so I think our biggest issue was Max Crosby. Man, the guy like balled out. I don't know if either of you watched
He's
the
so
game.
good.
I did watch a little bit
He's
of it.
good.
Holy smokes, he was good. I think we need to pump the brakes, especially myself, on Jordan Love and bring him back to reality as this rookie quarterback. We talked about it a little bit last week because he's definitely not as good as what he could have been, right? So it was a tough game to watch. We have some injuries. Bakhtiari's out for the year, our left tackle, which is a huge loss.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones. Go ahead.
Yeah, Aaron Jones.
Yeah, go ahead. Talk about it.
No, I was gonna say actually too that penalty ended up being a big play on that Christian Watson big play
Yes.
when Marcus Peters drew the horse collar,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously Packers didn't score. He was gonna go
score
in
Yep.
for the touchdown.
And
then Peters drew that penalty, and then they only got a field goal out of that drive.
And that's tough, right? Like you obviously got to make your big plays. Christian Watson, I tell you, if Jordan Love can get him the ball, there was multiple plays where he was burning his defenders. I mean, at the end there was a play where Watson burned. He kind of ran a post, and if Jordan Love could have got a good throw on it, could have been a different story.
Dylan had a decent game.
Dylan had a good game. Yep,
It's probably a game you guys obviously should have won.
100%.
I don't know particularly. Maybe it was just the Adams thing, why I picked the Raiders, but I guess it worked out.
The Raiders do usually play well primetime. For whatever reason, they usually do play well primetime. I specifically remember Carr and Alex Smith when he was on the Chiefs
Right.
having a shootout game on Thursday night. You know, like I feel like the Raiders play well primetime. Late games they play well.
I was kind of in and out of that game though. Who was on Adams for the most? Was it Alexander?
For Adams,
Did he follow him everywhere? Or
I
no.
don't think. No, I think he stays on.
'Cause, I mean, Adams only had 4 for 45, so they
Yeah.
did pretty good against him.
Yeah.
Whoever it was.
I don't know if they put like a deep safety on him. I'm not sure.
But yeah, I definitely thought it was one of those games where Adams was just going to go off.
Right.
Well,
He probably wanted it too.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think.
I mean, it was only 17-13. It wasn't like it was.
I think Alexander said it correctly after the game. He said the defense needs to play better, and what he was saying was because the offense is still working out kinks, and that's the biggest thing, right? Love is still working out how to be an NFL quarterback with that system. Obviously, he's been there for a while, and then you miss Aaron Jones. I think he's a huge piece for us.
Yeah, for sure.
Dobbs did barely anything. Whoever covered him did barely anything. So, I mean, it was a tough game, obviously, against a team that we were expecting, I feel like, to beat. Obviously, some people weren't. But I think it's just a learning curve. And
Garoppolo seemed to be connecting with Myers more.
And Myers had a good game.
Yeah. And he had what? He was 7 for 75 and a touchdown.
Yeah.
But Watson had 3 catches for 91 yards. Yeah. So if they could get him involved more.
He's such a good player. They try to get him in the run game. He got stuffed. Like he's definitely that Swiss Army knife that he's so fast.
Yeah.
He's 6'4". I mean, he's
right.
like it's kind of like that one of those players, man, that you just I feel like
I remember him firsthand. He had his breakout game against the Cowboys last year, remember?
Yep. Yeah, and
so,
he ran that. He had what? How many touchdowns?
3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So,
I think if they can if the line, it was tough. Max Crosby was destroying us. We couldn't get anything done.
Bakhtiari being out.
Bakhtiari.
Is obviously, that's how you pronounce it.
Bakhtiari, yeah.
That's huge.
Huge. Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, his presence is definitely missed, for sure. But
I think, it's not a panic situation, but I feel like we can, the Lions did really well. Obviously, they had a good game. Again, I feel like the division is for the Lions to lose, for sure. But there could be that option or that potential for us to get into the, like a little
Justin Fields is playing lately, but
okay, pump the brakes, baby. Pump them.
I'm back on the Justin Fields.
Let's go, baby.
Oh, man. Well, so why don't we move on to our next thing here? Let's do biggest surprise or joy.
Yeah.
Biggest surprise or joy or excitement of the week. Josh has something on his mind. I know where this is going, so we'll let you kick this one off.
You know where it's going?
Yeah.
Yes, sir! My Bengals, baby! That Bengals! I tell you what, it was so good, not only to see the Bengals actually play the way that they should play, but I have some Bengals on my fantasy team that it's been a struggle for my one fantasy team, and I tell you what, I even tried to trade away. Jamar Chase to this guy over here, and he's like, hold up. I know he's a big name, but come on. And I tell you what, not one, not two, three is really what it was.
Yeah.
3 touchdowns.
So want to trade him?
No, I think we'll keep it.
Even for the guys that we're going to do?
Listen, we'll keep it the way it is for now.
All
but I think it was cool to see them actually play well. Obviously, the Titans aren't really the team that's, like amazing or anything, but their offense...
Cardinals.
Yeah, they play the Cardinals.
Just kidding, the Cardinals. I might cut that out, please.
Cut it out.
I'm actually kind of surprised you went with the Bengals. I wasn't even thinking the Bengals, but I wasn't looking at fantasy. I could have...
But I'm excited and happy for them, and I hope this is kind of like the burst that they needed to go, with that offense at least.
So, my surprise, I could probably spin it either way. So I'll wait. I'll pick another surprise or enjoyment, I should say. I brought up earlier the Patriots' struggles, and I'm enjoying the heck out of seeing the Patriots struggle.
It's bad.
They have back to back worse losses and worse whatever under Bill Belichick, and I love it. This is a surprise to me. It's not a Bill Belichick type of team, but I love seeing them struggle.
So
I still can't. I can't stand
Patriots. It brings up the question. Now that we've seen how he is without Tom Brady, did Tom Brady make him that good, or do you think Belichick is still that great of a coach?
My honest opinion, it was the perfect storm.
Right.
He got the perfect quarterback who people took too much credit away from and gave to Belichick for what he could do. But at the same time, Belichick was younger. he was a little more into it. He was a little, he might be getting senile. Who knows? He might be believing his own hype now, and thinking that he doesn't need to change ways because this has worked for him.
I think
and
that's
now
what
it's
it is.
not working.
Yeah, I think it's a different system, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like Andy Reid is one of those like generational coaches where it's like, okay, it's not the early 2090s anymore. Yep. We got to start playing a different way.
Yep.
So I think it's more Belichick is going to retire.
Yeah. Mac Jones
is not it. He's not it.
It's tough.
Maybe they give that Zappe kid another try.
Maybe they tank and they go for Caleb Williams.
Can I bring one thing up with Caleb Williams?
He don't like the Patriots. Did you see his list?
No.
That's what I want to bring up.
There was like a list of 5 teams.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't have a chance to go to one of those 5, he said he'll go back to school.
Was that him? I thought that was Sanders.
No, that was Williams. And that is where... So, I like the NIL deals. I think it's cool that the players get them. A couple things I think we talked about it a little bit, but that kind of changes the scope of things.
A little bit.
If they're gonna like strong arm and be like, I'm not gonna go out.
Right.
I'm making $2 million. I don't care. Like I don't like that. You go to a team and you make that team good. You know what I'm saying? It's not.
Do you remember what his list was? I know it was
Cowboys.
The Giants, Cowboys, Raiders.
Yes.
Vikings.
Yes, Vikings were on there because I was like, oh no.
Yeah, you said you don't want them to lose out because of that. Right?
Yeah.
And I don't remember who the 5th was.
It was another team that wasn't that good.
No, I don't remember.
We're a team that could possibly get him anyways. Cause,
might have been the Packers. The team that's not that good.
No, I don't think it was the Packers.
But yeah, I mean, if he doesn't like the situation and he's making money in college, there's nothing to say he's not going to go back.
Well, and I think it could help these kids in the long run. I know, like you say, you just go get drafted by who you're going to get drafted.
Yeah.
And how many people would love to be in your situation? However, taking the money situation out of it, you have these guys who have been hyped that they're going to be this megastar, come out and be busts.
Right.
And now they have nothing. They don't have a backup plan or anything. And these kids stay in college and they graduate. Say he stays one more year, senior year, graduates, comes out and he's a bust. He's a Ryan Leaf. He's got his degree. He's got something he can fall back on.
I like that. I just don't like the idea of like strong arming. Like what if he
Eli
comes out
and Vic,
right?
And Elway.
Yeah. What if he comes out his senior year and then is like, well, I'm not going to do it. I don't care. I don't want to take that team, or whatever the scenario is.
It's
you
happened.
Don't pick your team.
It's happened.
I just don't like it. It's a bad look. Play for who you play for.
That's what I'm saying. I'm along the same deal.
But you're right though.
Giants are on his list, and they could definitely be in the Caleb Williams.
Well, they need an offensive line, bro.
So
I tell you what, it's not
they
Daniel
might
Jones.
have a chance to go.
Daniel Jones is not the problem.
Well,
it's not the solution.
He might be
either.
a little bit.
He might not be the solution.
He's not the solution either.
They showed
he's not the whole problem. Let's say that.
They said, remember Andrew Luck? The reason why he quit because he didn't want to get hit, right?
Yeah,
and they talked about when he was getting destroyed.
Yeah.
They said the amount of I wish I got the stat. He had more sacks in less games than Andrew Luck.
Yeah, I remember Andrew Luck, man. He was so good. And
Yeah.
He just was getting destroyed all the time.
But imagine that now. Daniel Jones is getting hit more. I'm not saying he's Andrew Luck by any means, or even a player that's like a great player. But I feel bad for the guy. I really do.
Yeah.
It's
they're definitely not helping him.
No,
that's for sure.
The guy has to run. I mean, he in the fourth quarter he had to get taken out of the game because he's like, and I don't blame him. I feel like I would have been like second quarter. I've been like, I'm hurt,
And then after he went out, Tyrod Taylor was still running for his life back there too.
Yeah.
So I did see before I came over here though they had 3 guys come in for workouts. I think one of them was La'el Collins. Bringing him in.
At this point.
I can't remember who the other 2 was, but that was the biggest name, I think, was Collins. So maybe they get some help and do a little bit better.
Collins got cut from the Bengals. You can see how well their offensive line's doing this year.
Yeah.
But you never know. New place.
Yeah.
Guess
Change
what?
of scenery.
It might be better.
Change of scenery.
Yeah.
So. You can think of anything you want to talk about that surprised you or you're happy about, or other than the shock that hit you of how much of a juggernaut the Niners are? That's shocking when you run into that.
I don't think that was a surprise, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that was probably my biggest disappointment.
Right. Well, we could go into disappointments. Let's start with disappointment. We'll go into disappointment. We'll let you start with that one. Your biggest disappointment?
Was that Niners game.
Niners game.
Because, like I said, going into this game, it was like, it felt like one of those Cowboys-Niners games from the 90s.
Right.
Like the way they both been playing, like, you know, you think you're both up here, and then you come out of that game and one's still up here, but you're kind of back here again.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So that was the biggest disappointment because I felt like maybe the Cowboys were making that next step, and I feel like they took 5 steps back instead. But maybe they'll correct some things.
Yeah.
I don't know, though.
Well, like we talked about when Arizona beat you guys. Maybe this is a reality check.
Yeah, but...
How many reality
And they
checks
did
do we
come
have,
back
though?
and...
Like, I'm just trying to talk the guy off a cliff, all right? Like,
And they did come back and beat the Patriots 38-3, but now it doesn't look that good after the Saints did it a week later.
yeah.
But Saints are one of those teams that I said
They're 12-5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. It was just we were up
You were
here,
up on cloud 9.
and now we're here.
Reality, baby.
Let's take a step back to actually analyze this.
I'm no Skip Bell, so I'm not throwing my jerseys in the trash.
We warned you
Right.
that your first 5 games were going to give you a false impersonation of who you were. And it happened, man. You're a Steeler. You are an NFC Steelers.
See,
Your defense is good. Your offense needs help.
Yeah, but not as bad as the Steelers' offense. I feel like
Well-
the Cowboys' offense is
We
better.
didn't have 3 turnovers.
Well, I get that, but
We didn't have 3 turnovers against 49ers either.
okay, that's true. But
We didn't score 10 points. We scored 7. But
I mean, obviously, there's a lot of help needed.
I mean, there's got to be. What is going on? Every year, it seems like Cowboys are making that next step, man.
It's tough. It's
I
tough for
don't
you
know.
guys. Caleb
What is it?
Williams,
I mean,
baby.
yeah, okay, maybe it's a little bit of Dak, but it's more than that too.
It's that coach. I tell you, what, get rid of that coach.
Well,
Get him out.
yeah, honestly, McCarthy's had a couple good years, but I mean, obviously, back-to-back 12-win seasons. That's good.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't want McCarthy when he first got hired. Like, I want someone younger that would, the new style football.
you wanted Lincoln Riley at first, didn't you?
I did want
You
Lincoln
wanted
Riley
at
at first. Yeah.
And is he doing pretty good in USC? Right? He's doing
Yeah.
pretty good. Yeah, because
Yeah.
they're pretty.
USC's good.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
And obviously, look at the offense he's putting together. Caleb Williams is
Well,
insane.
maybe
Maybe
Caleb
get a
and-
package deal.
Yeah, right there. Right
Yeah.
to the-
Just start.
No, honestly, I think Jerry knew what he was doing. Maybe he cuts ties with Dak after this year if Dak doesn't get him to where he's got to get him to.
At some point, you're going to
And
have to look
Trey
at that.
Lance is there.
At some point, you're going to have to take just like you had to do with Zeke and Pollard. Like at some point, they're going to have to take a look at Dak and say, "Bro, you're just not doing it right now."
Man, I think
That first year was so promising. You remember that rookie year of Dak?
13-3, right?
Yeah.
And they almost did it too.
He went in a Lambeau, beat him there.
He almost did
He
it
won
too.
in Pittsburgh. We watched that game here.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, the Mike Tomlin, let's go for 2 every time
Yeah.
you lose by 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, I haven't lost complete faith in him yet.
Right.
But he definitely took a step back again because I thought these are one of those games that he was gonna
Right, proof.
Yeah.
Right, like have that.
prove, but he didn't again. So, and we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll see him again, and maybe we'll get their number this time.
So I feel like this isn't a game specifically, but disappointment for me is Anthony Richardson, and it's a tough situation. I really like him as a quarterback. However, one of our friends, Ryan Edwards, says he's Mr. Glass, and I feel like when you can't stay healthy, when you can't stay on the field, it's tough, right? So. It sucks when players can't be out there when they're so exciting like that.
You know, it's kind of like when you're trying to build that bonfire and you light a match, and right before you get into that bonfire, the wind blows it out.
It goes.
And then you light the next one, you're like, I got it, and then the wind blows out.
Yeah.
He is the spark that is like, gonna make the Colts better. They're doing great things, and then he gets concussed.
Yeah.
And then he dislocates his shoulder or whatever he did this time.
That shoulder injury isn't looking too good either.
No, he's on the IR.
Yeah.
Or I think at least in fantasy, that's what I'm saying. But
I picked up Minshew.
Yep. Well, and that's the other thing I was going to say. As much of a disappointment that situation is, a little bit of glimpse of hope they do have Minshew, right? And Minshew's been playing pretty decent.
Yeah, and he's played some good football over the course of it. So they'll be fine with him. But yeah, you feel bad for Richardson.
Right. You want to see him.
I picked up his favorite target.
Yeah.
Josh Downs.
Yeah, you did. You picked up a couple players.
Yeah. We'll see, because we play each other this week, so we'll see.
And I picked up Minshew, so I got another quarterback.
Yeah. You better watch out, buddy.
Yeah, I'm scared.
Garoppolo
and Minshew, I'm scared.
It's the perfect week for my first win.
You know what it is? You're 0-5 and I'm 5-0. This is the week. This is the week, which there is a possibility, because there's a small door to open up for you, which is part A of my disappointment.
I know where you're going with that one.
Justin Jefferson. Messed up his hamstring. Out on the IR 4 weeks. And they're saying if the Vikings are not winning at that point, there's no real reason to rush him back either. So he could have extended time on the IR.
Don't rush
I
him
would just
back.
trade him.
Well, he's not my IR spot right now, okay? He's been great for me. So that's a big, huge... Because I haven't been this good in fantasy football in a few years.
It's been a little bit.
It's been a while, all right? It's been a while. I'm starting
it's
off
tough being
5-0.
always on top, always. Fellas,
I was there for a while. Listen,
Okay,
there will be a dip. There will be a dip.
I actually was for a little. I think it was. I don't know if it was last season or the year before, but I was bad. But
Okay,
so that's my first disappointment. My second disappointment, I'll go into a little bit more elaboration other than fantasy, is I'm very, very disappointed that Matt Canada still has a job in the NFL. How does this man have a job in the NFL? It's because Pittsburgh is allergic or afraid or whatever you want to say of changes.
Where's the popcorn? Get it.
They won't do it.
Show.
They won't do it. Listen, last week he comes out and says, we're not built to come from behind. What offensive coordinator is going to step back and be like, yeah, well, you're up 10, we're done? Which I text you guys during the game, well, we're not coming back. We're down 10, we're not built to come back.
Yeah.
Which our defense brought us back and our special teams.
Your offense today.
Yeah. He just calls check downs and stupid routes and jet sweeps and screens, and he doesn't take shots downfield. Now, we won the game on a go route, right? That Kenny Pickett audible to. He audible to this play, right? And I know you guys have seen it. There was a camera right in Matt Canada's face in that box when they scored that touchdown. Everybody around him, hooting and hollering, jumping up and down, he's pissed. No emotion. He's just sitting there staring straight ahead. And a lot of jokes are going around that he's mad because it wasn't his play that got them the win.
It probably is.
And I'm not lying. I don't think it's far off the truth. Because he's sitting here and thinking, I'm on the hot seat. I called a horrible game up to this point. Kenny Pickett audibles out of my play into a game-winning play. He can't have a job after this, right? There's no way. They gotta fire him during the bye week. They have to. He's gotta go.
They should.
He's gotta go.
Who would be a replacement for him?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Mike.
Okay.
There are two names
He's
that have
talking
been.
about one.
There are two names that have been floating around right now. Both former Steelers players.
Well, we know the one. I want to
Big
guess
Ben.
another one. Big Ben was the one.
Big Ben, they brought that up last week. I talked about it last week.
Yeah.
That they brought it up in a
Byron
podcast.
Leftwich?
Byron Leftwich is the other
Byron
one.
left. Where
He
he's-
reached out to the Steelers.
Where he's at the.
He's not anything right now.
Oh, he's not in the Bucks anymore.
Mm-mm.
Oh, dude, Leftwich, 100%.
He reached out to the Steelers about taking over the.
Oh, I would get Leftwich.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Fire the man.
Get rid of Canada, bring in Leftwich. Why
We're done.
not?
Yeah, I'm with it.
Pittsburgh is so done with Canada. They have Penguins games chanting "Fire Canada." Penguins games, the crowd is chanting "Fire Canada." They were beating the Ravens last week, and the crowd was chanting "Fire Canada."
Yeah.
They don't want him in there at all, and Tomlin won't pull the trigger on him.
And now's the perfect week to fire him.
It
Perfect
is.
week.
Right
You get
there,
him out of there. You get a new coordinator in there. Gets a full week of putting in whatever they want to do, and 2 full weeks, technically, to get ready for the next game.
Who would you rather have, Big Ben or Leftwich?
Well, I would probably... It's tough, because I love the splash of Big Ben. I think that'd bring a spark of energy to the team. I think it would get the fans rallying behind them again, and it would be a very interesting thing to see how he would call it, because he's a very big George Pickens guy. Has been from the get-go. He talks about how good Pickens is and how much more you got to get him involved. But I think Leftwich has a lot of good experience of calling games and stuff. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them. Well, you could go wrong with Ben because we don't know what he does.
Right, it's a risk.
But,
more of a risk.
And that's more of like a, as the wrestling term, a cheap pop. Say the city you're in to get them to cheer for you.
Right.
You bring back Ben after he retires, and he's still fresh in everybody's mind.
Everybody's gonna go crazy.
Yeah, they're gonna love it.
Has he talked publicly at all about wanting to do any coaching, or?
I don't know if he's said it publicly, but he has a podcast, just Ballin' or something like that, and he talks about the Steelers not all the time on it, about how they should do this with Pickens and they should do that, and Pickett needs to do this, and he's still into the game, and he talks about other teams. Pat McAfee was the one that actually brought it up on his podcast, on his show, that why not give Ben a shot?
I like what you say with that, because I felt, and you hear him in the booth when he calls plays, I want Romo to be our offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I would love it.
Yeah.
And I feel like Big Ben could do some good things for Pittsburgh, too.
Yeah.
Well, what he's got to wait for, and I think this is what they're actually waiting for, is Big Ben has a big championship game this weekend. They're playing in the Pop Warner Championship, so he's the head coach. He wins at this.
See that?
You know what I'm saying?
He's
Head
got to
coach.
get some experience.
That's what I'm saying.
So here's
Listen,
they
if they can give Jeff Saturday a
I
head
was
coaching
just
job,
gonna say they could pull Colts.
they can get Big Ben.
Exactly where I was going. I was gonna say they could pull a Colts move here and throw the word interim on him. He's an
There you
interim offensive coordinator, OC. Give him the rest of the year, see how he does, and if it doesn't work, then you interview Leftwich. You bring in other candidates
Okay, I like
for
that.
it.
I like that.
And honestly, how worse
Could it be?
could it be than Canada right now?
Right.
Right? So
Give us something that's going to give us a chance to go downfield, especially when Deontay Johnson comes back. You have Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, and Calvin Austin, who can stretch the field,
yeah.
and we're going to throw 2-yard screen passes to Najee.
And if Warren can keep running the way he's running.
Yeah, and he's doing good.
Yeah.
Pat was out, right? Pat was out.
Fryermuth's out.
Yeah.
He might still be out, but Washington got into the game last week. Connor Haywood is a good backup tight end, but they have pieces.
I'm with you. Give him a shot.
Yeah,
Fire that
really
man now.
Fire Canada.
Fire.
And I don't know how much more public pressure needs to be put on them to do it, but it is like the thing in Pittsburgh right now.
And he'll probably stay the whole year.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
They probably. Because Tom won't come out and be like, well, the standard is the standard. We hired him, so we're just going to let him. We got to honor our contract. Something
It's gonna get him the hot seat if he
Well,
doesn't.
the fans are starting to turn on him.
Yeah.
They
Fans
don't
are
like
starting to turn
changes,
on
right? But there probably hasn't been many years where you'd probably sit there and say, oh, I think we need a change from Tomlin. He's never really gave you that.
No.
Canada is, though.
It's always been the offensive coordinator. Not always. Lately, it's been the offensive coordinator. Todd Haley was not, but Canada makes Haley look like he was a good coordinator.
I know.
Where did Canada come from? Do you know?
Not Canada.
No, I want to say it was the University of Pitt.
Okay, so
I
he's a
think it was
college
University
coach.
of Pitt. Yeah, it was a college
That's
coach.
good.
But
Todd Haley used to get into it with Big Ben, too, didn't he?
Yeah.
They didn't like each other.
They didn't
too
like
much.
each other, no. But Haley did a lot of screen passes. Haley did a lot of slants. But he still, even his method was to get it to Brown or Bell
And
out
let
in
them,
space.
right? And let them.
Whereas Canada is just like,
Yeah.
Man, let's just not do anything.
yeah, he's like, 3rd and 1, go routes. 3rd and 22, 5-yard hitch. You know what I mean? Like he's the reverse of what he should be, and he's not using his personnel the way he should. Calvin Austin should be involved more. Pickens, and some of this is on Pickett. He needs to step up and be like, listen, we're going to Pickens. And what I heard was because Marcus Williams, I think it was Marcus Williams who was on. No, Marlon Humphrey just came back from injury. This was his first game back from injury, and the Steelers had said if we see him matched up 1-on-1 with Pickens,
They're pulling a safety.
we're just going for it.
Oh, they're going really?
Because if it's just 1-on-1,
oh, the Steelers.
yeah, the Steelers said if we see that matchup, it's going, and that's Pickett read the defense, saw him coverage 1-on-1, and audible to Randy, which is that read was after Randy Moss because he just took off and it was perfect.
It's a nice ball.
I don't know why I don't like Pickens as much as I do because I just feel like I don't know why I feel like he's overrated.
I was not a big fan immediately because of like that whole meme of when he got drafted and he's standing there with the ski mask on.
Oh, okay.
You know all that.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, what is this? We're gonna get another Antonio Brown.
Right.
And he I think he has potential of being Antonio Brown. It's just not at that level yet.
Like skill wise.
No, like distraction wise,
Drama.
Yeah. Skill wise, I think he's probably better than Brown.
Like ever was
He makes some of these catches I don't think Brown could make.
Yeah, but there's a difference being in space. Yeah, but there's a difference being in space and making like moves in space, but also going up for a catch. You know, like spectacular catches are.
I think he could contested catches. I think he's better than Brown was.
Yeah. Brown
After the catch,
Brown
I think
was
Brown
ridiculous.
was just ridiculous. Yeah, and he's a great punt returner and stuff. But they got to figure something out and get rid of Canada for sure.
I think you guys will be. I mean, obviously you're there with the defense. I think you got a good defense.
And listen, in
and
3 weeks,
if you can get something else out of that offense with a new coordinator or whatever, I think it'll be all right.
3 weeks, right? I will be joining in with the Fire Canada chants if it's not done yet.
There you go.
There we are. I'll be down there and I will be yelling with them.
Exciting. You and Tommy.
Yeah. So.
Tom's going.
Say hi to Tommy.
Yeah, Tom's going.
You didn't tell me anything. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
It's your birthday, man. Like,
So. All right. Well, that's some pretty good.
We got a lot of
venting
of
emotion, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
a little therapy.
You would have thought after that rant that my team was the one who lost and you guys won, but
it's kind of true.
God, it's just I can't. Canada just needs to go. He needs to.
I tell you, it's good.
I saw a shirt. It was a black shirt. It had yellow writing and it said "blame" and it had a maple leaf on it.
Oh,
for
really?
Blame Canada. I was like, oh, that's awesome. That was a good one, but it's just. And Najee's, I think he's going to get surpassed. I've talked about that from the beginning, from preseason. I think he's going to be, by the end of the year, he's going to be our RB2. And they need to put Porter in.
Yeah. Well, maybe you could actually apply for offensive.
Yeah, I probably should. Well, I should just.
You could do better than Canada, probably.
Probably good, right?
At this point, Madden, you get a little fresh.
Right.
Get some plays.
Yeah, we draw better plays than Madden, bud.
Oh, man.
Oh,
it's
boy.
bad. All right. So let's run down last week.
Oh God.
I don't think I had a good week.
No.
I don't think any of us did we?
I was the only one with a winning record.
Yeah. That's what.
You guys tied at 7-7. I went 9-5.
Okay. So you're 500.
Yeah.
Josh is yet to have a losing week.
You're welcome.
Josh is yet to have a losing week. I've had one, and Mike's had one.
But it's back down to like reality where but it's gonna take a while for you boys to.
Yeah, well, we can only chip away so many games, and Mike made a chip last week, one game. I come back with 2 games this week.
Yeah,
but you're still a decent way.
Yeah. I'm there. It's gonna be a miracle.
You're on top. We get it.
Yeah, so, but. Let's see, the rundown of last week. The Bears got their first win against the Commanders. The Jaguars beat the Bills in London. The Steelers beat the Ravens. Falcons beat the Texans. Lions beat the Panthers. Colts beat the Titans. Dolphins beat the Giants. Saints whooped up the Patriots. Eagles stay undefeated against the Rams. Bengals come back and get on the winning side again, beating the Cardinals. Jets take care of the Broncos. Vikings get taken care of by the Chiefs.
Yes, sir.
Niners stay undefeated against the Cowboys. Raiders beat the Packers. Browns, Chargers, Seahawks and Buccaneers were all on byes.
Another big, almost scary injury in that game when Kelsey went down.
Yeah.
I know.
But he ended up coming back.
Yeah.
But that was a non-contact injury, and he went down like, oh no, Kelsey.
Again, right?
Yeah.
So at this point, the Eagles and the Niners stay undefeated, and the Panthers are now the only team looking for a win. All right, so once again, another good week in the books. Feel like there's some games each of us can make up on you. There's some upsets that could happen.
Not happening.
Yeah, Giants. I don't know what you're thinking, man.
J-E-T.
We washed on that one, okay? We washed on that one with the Giants. You guys took the Jets. Okay.
You'll be laughing when the Jets do it.
Well, you guys should be laughing too.
But one more week, there'll be two guys.
One mic.
Let's go.
Peace.